Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the drunkest show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Diedre K, and I am the 5-star general. Man, they say little girls can grow up and be anything they want. Well, I tell you what, we got a hell of an example tonight. Diedre Gilbert has grown up and she wants to be the governor of the state of Texas. We're going to talk about it. Let's get to it. Say, man, I want to thank you for tuning in and tell you, without a doubt, you guys are the best audience in the world. And we appreciate you taking time out to come and hang out with us. And it's phenomenal. That's all I can say. When I think about where we were when we first started to where we are now, we've helped a lot of people and we've grown, and a lot of y'all have helped us become better people. I'm gonna start it off with this here. I've been talking to Diedre about this. Have y'all kept your eyes on the Houston Independent School District? Last night there was a board meeting to have a discussion about the superintendent search to replace Dr. Grenita Lathan. And if you don't know who that is, that's the African American lady that has battled every single problem that you could think could come through the building. And she's done it in stride and has taken care of these kids, but she's not good enough to them. So what they did is the search firm asked each trustee, who do they think from the community should be having a voice in this process? Elizabeth Santos, and I've told y'all about her. One of hers struck me as odd. Latino politicians. Well, what about the white politicians? What about the black politicians? Another one that I saw on several trustees was the Houston GPS. That's ran by Rod Page, who was, I think he was in the Bush administration. But that group there is pro-charter. That doesn't work for African American schools in the black community. So what I'm telling y'all is keep y'all eyes on these people, because you will see they want LULAC. You know, their last choice for a superintendent, Richard Carranza, just put in his resignation in New York City today. So that was that. Now, I'll turn this over to Donovan. The Senate bill that Senator Royce West filed in regards to George Floyd, he pulled the bill. Now, you got some people out here saying they want to hold people accountable. Okay, well, hold them accountable. You know, I don't know if that bill can be refiled before this session is over. I think it may have to wait until the next session. But why was the bill pulled? Oh, well, we still have State Rep Sophia Thompson's bill. If you understand how bills are filed, if she doesn't have her partner over on that Senate side to file that bill, hers is dead on arrival. So for those out there that keep asking me, man, just give him a chance. I'm going to drag him like a Persian rug until the bill is refiled. You stepped off into that water, because I'm tired of people using George Floyd for votes. I'm tired of them using George Floyd's memory for whatever they choose to use it for. But then when it's time to step up to the plate for George, they abandon it. Donovan, what's going on, my friend?
Man, like I said, when I got that information today, I am not surprised, because as Black people, we love symbolism. We love it. And this is what these politicians do. And no disrespect to our guest, I'm looking forward to grinding her and breaking her in half, because she is going to be the governor. And what we need is a strong person that means what they say and say what they mean. And if you can't get the job done, just say that and stop giving us this false expectation of hope. Because at the end of the day, Black folks, we got to save ourselves. There's only so much Governor Gilbert's going to be able to do. And she's going to tell us what she can do, what she can't do once she gets in office. But if you guys want to know what's been going on, So it's been pretty quiet. CPAC started today, and I want you guys to be tuned to those TV. Donald Trump is going to come out and speak, and he's going to rescue us and take us to the promised land. And then you're going to find out who your real enemies are, because they're going to be, oh, I can't go out tonight because Donald Trump is speaking. You guys want to go get a steak or something and go hang out for the day. Your Trumpster friends are going to be out there, and it's just going to be all screwed up. But Donald Trump is scheduled to speak. Ted Cruz spoke today. Fuck him. But everybody's waiting for Donald Trump to talk at CPAC. And like Demetra said, Donald Trump is going to be running again for the nomination. And don't you Democrats get it twisted. I've told you guys time and time again, I'm a recovering Democrat because I want to help the Democratic Party, but it's not good for me. They're not good for me at all. You guys sit here and act like you guys have a mandate. You do not have a mandate. We are going to lose the Senate in less than 2 years, and we're probably going to lose the House. But you know what? You guys keep on doing what you're doing. If we can get Governor Gilbert, the future Governor Gilbert, into the governor's seat, number one, I believe you would be the first Black female governor ever elected. And that's a plus. And we've got to start turning these state seats, the things that affect us the most, over at the state level. Federal level, that's all smoke and mirrors. We got to deal with these state houses. Demetra, what do you got?
So hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday night's edition of the War Zone, where we would usually do like a free flow type of thing. But we have a special guest with us here, Mrs. Gilbert. She is running for the governorship next year. And we are going to have a nice conversation with her just to see where she stands and where she wants to take the state of Texas. And so if you guys can do us a favor and share this live so that everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. So Gary, kick it off for us.
I'm from the great state of Texas, been here born and raised, and I've never seen a female African-American governor. And you know what? Maybe it's just time. Maybe it's just time. We're in bad shape in the state of Texas, and we need different leadership. So I want this audience tonight to be interactive. Ask questions. We'll post the questions. We'll read the questions. This is your opportunity. Very few candidates are willing to sit down in a forum like this. Well, it's not that they're not willing to sit down in forums like this. They're not structured like this, where you can actually ask the candidate a question and then possibly get an honest answer. So, Diedre, Governor Diedre, that's what I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call you Governor D. When I come up there to see you, bring you some pecans or something. When I come, I always bring gifts. What made you want to do it?
What you just stated. I've been finding out that we've been putting people in office, and again, they have not given us what we want. They are not giving us nothing. Matter of fact, I've been talking to so many legislative leaders over the last 10 years, especially since the loss of my daughter. And after that, I realized that all I kept getting was excuses. The Republicans was doing this. The Republicans are doing this. They have too much money. We just can't get it done. And I have a problem with that. I really have a problem with that. Is that, are we going to just sit and watch, or are we going to actually do something about it? And I can't do anything about it if I'm not in the loop. I'm not, I can't go to the office anymore and sit down and talk, because that doesn't matter. You already see what is going on right now. You all went to Royce West. You put a bill in. Same thing with me. And the next thing you know, all of a sudden it didn't go through. So if you want to keep doing what you're doing and keep getting what you get, keep voting the same people in. And we don't really have that much of a choice of pickings of people to choose from in the race. And I know that there's a couple of people that are running and they're all excited about, the people running, but I'm not excited about that. I don't feel good about some of the people that are running, because there's some backdoor information. There's some things that's hidden up under the covers and agendas that need to be exposed before we get somebody back into that office and push us down the drain. So I'm here, not because I'm Black, and I'm gonna be like Shirley Caesar, because I am. You know, that's not it. But I do think that someone else needs to get into the mix here, and nobody wanted to do it, to tell you the truth. How long has it been? And not one person I know of have really just said, you know, I'm going to step up to the plate and I'm going to try it out. So I was like, what do I have to lose? Nothing. I have a lot to gain and nothing to lose.
Well, I tell you what, let me ask you a question. A lot of people don't know how tough it is to run a statewide race from a financial standpoint. And being an African American trying to raise money in this pandemic climate, how tough is it to raise money for your campaign at this moment?
And that's the question I keep getting. And the answer is, I'm not worried about what I don't have. I'm going to think about what I do have. And that simply means that if we focus on what we don't have, we'll never succeed. I will never have the bank account that Abbott has, ever, unless I started to run, you know, long time ago, correct? So I don't have that. However, there are people that are willing to work with me. I'm willing to, you know, I'm getting into some of these organizations and I'm looking for these people to push me. I can tell you this, I'm going to be on the ballot. That is a huge accomplishment, just to be on the ballot. And if I can get on the ballot and I can move, and if people just say, look, we are ready for a change and they're looking for the right change, hey, we can go. So the money's going to come. And I believe the money's going to come. I believe, you know, I've been talking to several people. We can make some money. I tell you this, if I can raise $162 a day, I have $1 million by March. $162 a day can get us to $1 million. That's pretty good.
I suck at math, but I was trying to figure out how you said $32 by March?
$162 a day.
1,000. You said $162,000?
No, $162.
Next year, next March, by next March.
Not coming up.
Okay. Like I said, I'm terrible at math. So anyway,
so it's about $4,000 a month or so. We're looking at $4,000 to $5,000 a month. If you can kick that off, you can raise pretty good. You can do pretty well.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, most definitely welcome to the show. And as you can see, people already have questions for you, including Mr. McFarland. But first, I want to ask my question. Now, the state of Texas has only had two female governors. One was Ma Ferguson and Ann Richards. Ma Ferguson, back in the day, she actually was elected twice, and then Ann Richardson in 1991. Both white women, and Ma Ferguson, it was said that she didn't have, hardly any support once she became the governor. And so you as a Black woman, what do you need to do to get the state of Texas to elect you? Because, I'm from California, and I, know Texas is a red state, and, they can be a little bit on the racist side. So yeah. What challenges do you think you'll have trying to become governor simply because you're a Black woman?
Well, actually, I'm going to be all of that. I'm going to have a whole lot of challenges, but here's the thing. I've been approached within the last 2 days, asking me, will I get on the Republican ticket? So there must be something pressuring them to even ask me that question. I must have something that I can do, or something or who I am that can pull some votes away from some people that they're looking for. So that they're probably going to be looking for the Black woman, for one, or the Black communities. So that is who I am, first and foremost. I know that a lot of them cannot get into some of the women's organizations that I have contacted. And if I can get any one of the ones that I've been reaching out to contact me, I think I'm going to have what I need to at least push the agenda. Now, I cannot change the faces or the minds of people. You know, we're never going to be able to deal with the people who are racist or whatever. That they're going to be who they are. And they're going to vote the same way. So what do? I just have to get out there and I have to run this campaign like I'm just running a campaign and just keep moving. If I focus again on what I don't have or how people are going to perceive me, even if I do not win, I have to make a move. I have to move. I have to do something. That means I have to get out up there in the streets. I have to tell people I am running for this position. And I'm asking for them to vote for me. And I'm asking them to help me to make it better. Because a lot of people are not seeing what's in the inside. And I'm going to tell you, my motto or my little motto here is Texas Matter. Defining values. It all depends on what's your value right now. What do you want in a governor?
So let me ask you this. So are you running as a Republican?
No, ma'am, I'm not. I have been approached though to consider running on a Republican ticket. And I was very shocked to have been asked that question. I don't know why, but there must be a reason that they were asking me to move over into that arena.
And who is the they that's asking you to run as a Republican?
It was a couple of people that are in the Democratic Party or works around the Democratic Party who asked, and someone else who did not identify himself as a Republican, who wants to meet with me and who is a Republican, which is very strange.
So my last question is this, because it sounds like you're saying the Democrats, which, you know, originally it's kind of odd that Democrats would ask you to run as a Republican, but it's not odd if they're asking you to run as a vote splitter to take votes away from Greg Abbott, whoever's running on the Republican Party. So do you think that's their strategy?
Well, this person is not with the Democratic Party for sure. However, this person deals, he sort of vacillates between the two. He is one or the other or working to do whatever it is that he does.
Yeah, political operative. He's a political operative.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what they want. And it very well could be to split the vote. Or if I get out of the race, then it will actually give the other candidate the opportunity to come up at the top, and I'll be out of their way. Because I'm going to take something from somebody who's running in the Democratic arena.
Okay. Brenda Limbrick Sanders, a good friend of yours. We got some people connecting here. Hello, classmate, my friend. She says congratulations to you, and she is proud of you. But before we get to Jeffrey's question, I just got one question. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. I'm out here in California. I'm in the drama. I've ran for office myself. We know, just like you just alluded to, there are political operatives out there. And there is the Democratic machine and there's the Republican machine. And these are the people that pick the winners and the losers and all this other stuff. You got to deal with that before you can deal with anything. So I need to know, before I could even give you my vote or even endorse you, what is your background? Are you an athlete? Did you go to Spelman? Or, what is it? Because we love symbolism. So if you don't have any of that of your background, if you can tell our viewers your background, then we'll get to the questions. But I think everybody wants to know, what makes you qualified? I mean, do you work at a grocery store? I mean, anybody could run, but what is your qualifications to run for governor?
I did run track. I went to PV. I went to the HBCU, and I definitely ran track. I went to Sterling and ran track. I am a trackster. So definitely. Someone asked that question, what was the basic background, or what are the qualifications? And the main qualifications for to be a governor, simple is to be living in the city or the state for 5 years and to be over 30 years old. So basically, do I have to have anything else other than that, right? Based on their qualifications. So I went to Prairie View. I have a background in political science, mass communications. I am a teacher. I was a former teacher for 26 years. So I have a master's in educational administration. I've been working since my daughter's death in 2010. I've been working with legislative leaders, and I created the only nonprofit in the country for those that have been harmed by medical malpractice, medical error. I've been dealing with the medical community. I know how they work inside and out. I can kind of tell you some of the things about the vaccines that may or may not be real, and some of the concerns that people are having based on my what I do. I work with veterans during the day. I've been working with veterans for the last, I'm going to say 12 years, where we have veterans find employment. We have housing. I've helped with food, clothing, all of these things that are just some of the simple things, but it also has given me a lot of skills. It has given me a lot of skills. My background, I've been in the political arena quite a bit. My mother ran for office. I know the dirt. I know how it works. I know it's hard. However, I don't think about that. And I know most people do, and I know most people probably say, well, you have to think about that. But I don't really think about that because I believe that I have the integrity, for one. I am a woman of my word. And if you talk to people, they will tell you I am a woman of my word. I work diligently for the disabled community. I have gotten laws passed. I have gotten bills passed. I work with attorneys. I work with lawyers. I work with doctors and nurses. I have been all over the place. I've spoken with the Whistleblower Summit in Washington for the last 3 years. I'm a part of all of these, a lot of organizations that has given me the skills to sort of maneuver through the political arena. And so I don't know what's going on inside of Austin, okay? But I know what I want to do, you know? I know that I see things that need to be changed, and I know that it can't be done just looking at it. And as you said, we don't actually look at, we always want to talk about what's going on in Washington, but we don't look into our state houses, and that needs to be changed. So one of the things that definitely needs to be changed, and I think that I have some things in my, I'm going to say in my arsenal that can probably clear out some of the stuff that's inside of that dome. And I'm just saying that because I've been around the bush. I've been around a lot of these people. I know some things that have occurred. I know how it works. And I know what we need to do to change it. When you all talk about the laws, many of you probably, I don't know if you know about ALEC, if you ever heard about the American Legislative Exchange Council. That is one of your major big problems with each and every one of your state houses across this country. And until we learn how to really figure out what is making it tick, it's not going to work. So what's ticking it is the laws and the bills that are being passed right up under our noses. where you don't even know that it's happening. And the reason why we're in the state that we're in is because our legislative leaders let those bills come through, and this is what we get. So I think I can handle the business. But again, I've learned from a former FBI person that I know who stated that you can't run this by yourself. So you surround yourself by people who know and who can get some things done.
Let me ask you a question here. So just right off the bat, what are you going to do differently than Governor Abbott has been doing to get, I guess, Texas back on track? Again, I'm an implant from Southern California. And I know and I see how the pandemic has been handled here, the coronavirus. You know, we're just kind of glossed over, like basically if you die, you die. And then, of course, we had this whole Texas freeze thing that went on, and it just, you know, still being handled poorly amongst a whole host of things. So what are you going to do differently than he's doing to get Texas back on track?
Well, that's a tricky situation because you have a lot of people who want to go back to work and you have a lot of people that don't. The thing that's going to make this work is if people are going to listen to the truth. If they can handle the truth, then we probably can get back on track. And what I mean by that, so we shut down a whole entire state. And when I went and I started looking at the numbers, and I know that there's a lot of people who have passed away. And sure enough, we know that they died of something. However, looking at the statistics of how many people who died in the state of Texas, as opposed to how many people live in Texas, it would have not warranted a complete shutdown, in my opinion. There would have been, I would have not shut down the community, completely shut it down in the beginning until we find out, first of all, what caused or what is causing the problem. Now, we still don't know what is out there. And we're not going to know until there are autopsies done so that we can actually find out what our community is dying from. Just by telling me and showing me some lines and symbols, and I taught science, so for 26 years, so I love science, so I know how science works.
I minored in physics, so good area.
So you understand what I'm saying, right? So it just doesn't mesh, but our country and everything that we were, I'm going to say, most people have been transformed or having to be, they're sitting in front of their TVs all day long, listening to the same conversation, listening to too many things. And I would have to have someone else other than what I see on TV to give me some other understanding, which is what I've done on my personal journey here. I know people with the FDA who I've talked to who are concerned about certain things. So
let me just ask you this, because I know, you know, it maybe kind of sounds like you don't believe the data, Dr. Fauci and all of those people, but what about from what we see with the states like Texas, California, a couple of other states, we're kind of like, you know, well, we're just going to go with it. We're not going to shut anything down. And their numbers are really high. Texas was trending right behind California as of a couple of weeks ago. So, I mean, what about those numbers? Don't we believe that this thing is real and it is taking lives simply because we're not social distancing, not wearing our masks, and, you know, and some other things, but you know, really just continuing on with our business as usual? And
again, we're only seeing certain parts of it. You're saying, the people are saying, you're saying that they didn't shut down, right? They didn't shut down. They didn't social distance. But you also didn't see or were able to hear the other conversations. What they did during this particular pandemic, there were other doctors and the other people who were speaking out against this. However, that conversation never hit the TV screens. Nobody was able to hear those things except for a few people. What they would do is they take all of that stuff off of the internet and they call it misinformation because they're saying that it's not true. I don't know, and I'm not saying that the deaths are not real, because they are. But we are not sure, and I'm going to say 100% sure, how these deaths occurred, especially within a hospital system. When they shut it down, they did not allow anyone in. No family, no friends. They took your family. You heard nothing. The same thing happened in nursing homes. They took you. Nobody saw what they gave you. Nobody was able to see. And no autopsies were done. There is no way that you can give a cause of death without an autopsy.
So you're saying it's a conspiracy then?
I'm not saying it's
a pandemic, as people are saying, a pandemic.
I'm going to say it was planned, and it was possibly something else that's going on that went wrong. There was something that actually went wrong in the agenda of some people who did whatever they did, and it got out of hand. That is what I'm saying to you. There is something more, in my opinion, sinister behind this whole agenda. Now, am I saying people did not die? Yes, they did. Am I saying that people should not wear their mask? I'm saying if that is what you want to do, you should wear your mask if that makes you feel comfortable and safe. What I'm saying to the community that I'm talking to, and I'm saying this because I know, I had to write several letters, and some of those letters went to Abbott, the Government Accountability, Health and Human Services, where in my organization for the medical malpractice part, I was fighting for people to be able to go inside of those facilities. The attorney for my firm, for my nonprofit, gave us information that while we were not able to go into nursing homes and hospitals, pharmaceutical companies were still going inside. So my question to that was, how is it that you would allow pharmaceutical companies to enter a hospital that you say was COVID, but you would not let family go in? So with that being said, there was something wrong with that picture. If certain people were still allowed to go into a hospital or a nursing home, but you were not allowed to see what was going on with your family members. We got a lot of calls, and one of those calls was from my cousin who actually lived in Florida. And he had an underlying condition, which was just basically he had asthma. He was not tested for COVID at the very beginning, but he went to the hospital because they told him he had a lung issue. They left him in the room for 8 hours. No one went into the room. They stuck him in a COVID unit by himself. No blankets, no nothing. I got a call and said, D, you need to do something really quick because we can't. I called the CEO of the hospital. When I called the CEO, they ran in the room. They gave him everything that he was supposed to get when he first got there. Now, this is where the problem came in, because the next day he was doing wonderful. He was talking on the phone to his wife from his hospital bed. The next day, we couldn't find him. They called and said he was in ICU because he was acting deranged. We don't know why he was acting deranged, but here's the thing. No one was able to go into the place to find out what happened to him from being really not doing well to going into an IC unit for 14 days. Luckily, he survived and he's home. I had a conversation with him to ask him, can you remember from the time you were doing well to the time that you went into whatever rage they said you went into? And he said, at first I could not. He said, but D, I asked for some water. And he said, they told me I couldn't have any water and for me to lay on my stomach. And he said he did not want to lay on his stomach. He said, why? And he said they gave him something in his IV and he began to start fighting. And that's when they said that he was acting deranged. He didn't know how he got there. So here's the thing I'm saying to you is that there are a lot of questions to be asked. We don't know those answers. All we have is what the doctor or the nurse or whoever tells you. What you don't know, and if you haven't seen the PrEP Act gave hospitals and everybody immunity, full immunity from any and everything that they do from here on out for the next 3 years, whether it's vaccine or whatever. So they also wrote that they did not have to do autopsies. They didn't have to do any writing of any sort. So basically, if you were to go and try to find out what happened to your loved one, they did not have to write any notes.
All right. Well, cool. So let's go ahead and switch over a little bit. There's a lot of questions in the comment section. So I'm going to jump out there with one. Mr. Pirate Brain, yes, you found us. All right. So you say, how does she feel about reparations for American descendants of slaves? So that's a question for you.
Oh, wow. I believe that it's a time for it. I'm not really a history buff, but my husband is, and we have definitely been looking into that. And I'm shaking my head because when I looked at We the People, by the people, I always thought that was we the people. And I'm just learning as I'm looking at history that it didn't mean that. It was just that our Constitution was not written for us. You know, if you've been looking at TV, they've been showing these documentaries of history of the slaves and and so I am for it. I think we need it. Now, whether or not we get it, because who do you have to depend on to get that done? And that will be our legislative leaders.
So as governor of Texas, because there's been some governors like California, Gavin Newsom has started the conversation in regards to reparations for American descendants of slaves. Is that a conversation that you're willing to start and get the ball rolling?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a real big issue. And basically, it's a real big issue because of who Texas is, too, and where Texas come from, and our history as it relates to Texas. So definitely, we need to talk about that.
Yeah. So if that bill comes to your desk, you're going to sign it.
I will.
Okay. Jeffrey McFarland says, please tell us your plan and agenda as governor.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm healthcare. That's one of the biggest issues is healthcare. During COVID time, many people who had insurance, even those of the rich and famous, as you know, no longer have that because if they lost their jobs, they lost the ability to have insurance. So that's going to be one of the major, my major big things is making sure that everybody has healthcare, one way or the other. We all need it because we cannot go another day or have another one of these pandemics and we're not covered. Because it didn't matter if you were rich or poor, especially during this particular pandemic. Normally, your lower income people are the ones who suffer the most. But in this one, we realized that everybody suffered in this. So healthcare is one of my biggest ones. I am into the education. Again, 26 years, our educational system has to be very revamped. As he was saying, they're pulling up all of these charter schools The charter school's been going on for a long time when I first started. And I think that's, they're no better than a public school. You know, we just need to push the money in the right places and get the right teachers in those schools to teach. So voting, that is going to be one of the biggest issues for me, because Texas is the last on the list of all 50 states as it relates to voting problems. We got to do something with the voting here in Texas. Everybody has the right to vote if they are, you know, a resident of this state. So we definitely have to get that done.
Okay, let me follow up with another question before we get to James Pritchard's question.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you could, like, we got a lot of questions in there. So if you
That
can,
we
like,
do.
yeah, if you can, like, just be short with your answer. We don't mind being short as long as it's precise.
Okay.
I noticed you keep saying everybody, everybody, everybody. Now, you're a Black candidate and you want a Black vote, okay? Mm-hmm. And let's just be real about it. There is not a candidate that is a Black that has been sent to Washington or their position purely on white votes. They get there on a combination of votes, majority Black. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point, I'm sick and tired of Black candidates worried about everybody. I need a candidate that's going to worry about my people first. And you were talking about healthcare. How most of us, I'm not saying most of us, but a lot of us don't have healthcare, you know, in proportionate to our population, as in caring because we lost our jobs and all that stuff. We're always at the bottom. And I'm tired of these candidates always talking about everybody, everybody, everybody. What are you going to do specifically to get my vote as a Black person? Because I want to vote for you, but we're getting to a point, I believe, where people are looking at these everybody candidates, because when you include everybody, Black people get neglected. And that's just a fact.
Okay. And I'm going to have to be truthful with you. Okay. I'm in Texas, right? I am a conservative Democrat all the way. I'm about everybody because I have to be. I'm sorry that I have to say that. When I'm making decisions, we are and we have been at the end of the totem pole. But I am going to make sure that we're not at the end of the totem pole. But I cannot forget that other people are also suffering in this. You know what I'm saying? We're not just by ourselves now. Everybody is just suffering right now. I can't go into an office, as you say, and just say, I'm just going to do the Black thing. I am Black.
Donald Trump did it.
Donald Trump did. But what I want to do is to make sure that you have something.
Barack Obama did it.
And Barack Obama did it. So you're telling me that we cannot have everybody.
Well, why would we give money to people who already have money? The average white family.
And I'm not saying giving money to
no. But what I'm saying is people that already have if a group doesn't have any money, they can't really save themselves. So if a person has their median income is $117,000,
right? They
can go to the doctor with or without insurance. Okay, they can go and buy it. People that don't have wealth, poverty line is $14,000. The average Black family is about $17,000. So that 70% of us are at that thing. So what I'm saying is, you know, we keep saying everybody, but we give the majority of the money to everybody because we're only 13-14% of the population. We always get left behind. And like I said, this everybody thing for me, I'm not speaking, I'm just speaking for myself.
Right. And that's okay.
You know, it's not working. And when I hear candidates say, well, I got to be an everybody candidate. No, you don't. Donald Trump didn't need to be an everybody candidate.
And
Barack Obama wasn't an everybody candidate.
I understand exactly what you're saying. But this is the problem that we have. And this is the problem that we've been having. And then this is the problem that we're going to continue to have, in my opinion, is that we are suffering. We need help. And I'm not talking about those that can afford to pay for themselves and who can do. I'm talking about those that cannot. I've always been for those who are less fortunate. Because we already know those that can go pay for insurance, they can go pay for insurance. We're talking about those that don't look like us, that may be Hispanic or Asian, but are not making that kind of money to be able to afford insurance. That's the everybody that I'm talking about.
Okay,
I'm talking about those who
right,
are, huh?
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but the Asians have a caucus that looks out for them. The Hispanics have a caucus that looks out for them. Black caucus looks out for everybody but black, and that's what I'm trying to.
No, that's not, in my opinion, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
That's not going to happen. But I also don't want anybody to put me into a pickle, as I would say, or into a jar. And then when I'm talking to someone else, then they're saying, well, you're not going to help us. That's not the way we should be in this world. We need help. We need assistance, okay? And I want to be able to help you do that. And I'm not talking because I've been working on the back end, getting people into, hospitals and helping them to get insurance or whatever it is that they need to get, all by myself and the agencies that I'm with. So I don't have a problem with working for you and anyone else that asks me to help them. I'm ready.
So let me say this. I don't know if you heard the podcast with Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen. They have a podcast that they're doing called Renegades. And within that podcast, Barack Obama admitted that he didn't push for reparations for Black people because he would have gotten white resistance.
Right.
So he's now saying that Black people should have gotten it. So what's your opinion on that? And do you think maybe that's where you're coming from a little bit? Because I get that as governor, you have to work for everybody. But to Donovan's point and some of the people in the comment section, whenever, like I said, an Asian, a Hispanic, or who, different race gets into office, they do for their people. And Donovan's point to Donald Trump is he did for his people, which were considered the wealthy.
Right.
So I think it's for us, and you can give me your opinion on this, for us as Black people, when our Black politicians go into office, they and I'm not saying this is you, but unfortunately they leave us behind, right? They use us, which is what Barack Obama did, use Black people to get into office twice. And then now that he's out, he's like, well, now I think you guys deserve it. I just didn't do it because of white resistance. So it's like, do you think that has something to do with it? Because a lot of our Black politicians won't just put it on the line, because it's like, well, it's almost like Kamala. I'm sure you've heard her say, I'm not just going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. So that's what we get a lot of times with our Black politicians. And so do you think maybe that's a little bit of it for you? And what is your opinion on Obama saying now we deserve it? When he said we
absolutely not. Because what I do every day, it has no color. So when I'm working with my veterans, or when I'm working with those that have been harmed by medical error, I don't look at the color. I have just helped people because they need my help. I'm not looking at the fact that, I'm definitely not getting into office, and I want to be real with you. That is not my forte. I've been fighting for us every day. When I go and I talk to them about doing some bills that they will not do. I'm not afraid of that. What I'm saying to you is that you definitely have to understand, and as you know, I'm speaking out here, that we all have been taken advantage of. We haven't gotten what we deserve. We haven't gotten the insurance. We haven't gotten the health care that we need. We need that. And I'm going to be fighting for that, tooth and nail. But you also have to understand that I'm going to be fighting for the less fortunate, which is what I've done all my life.
Well, we got something in common. You running for governor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running for school board in HISD.
Mm-hmm.
My position is simple, that I don't want to be a career politician. I'm not saying that you do. I don't want to be a career politician.
No.
So therefore, the dynamics of what you guys have been talking about, that's in the educational arena too.
Right.
And I'm letting the world know before I come out the gate, Black children come first.
Mm-hmm.
We the least, we the last, we the lost. If that means that, and I'm gonna just throw that out there if I was running for a bigger position, if that means that a pharmaceutical vendor doesn't want to give me a campaign contribution, keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't run on my morals and look in the mirror and be comfortable knowing that Black children have not been first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if we were second, I probably would feel a little bit better. But these Black children have been put so far on the back burner, they're seventh or eighth. Now, that'll tell you something. They'll put everybody ahead of us. And I think that in the political world, the bigger scheme of it, you know, the national scheme, a lot of times politicians want to be inclusive with everybody because they don't have the political protection to say what they need to say. That's what I got from the Obama sit down, that he felt he didn't have the political protection to just come out as a Black president and say Black people deserve reparations.
I said that. I believe that. I mean, I believe all of that. We need a better education. We need a better healthcare system. We need all of that. Every last bit of it. I mean, I've gone through it. I've been through it. So I know how you feel. But I also have to tell you that if someone else came to me and said something, that I want to be as fair to them as well. I am not, and I'm just saying, I'm not your regular politician, as you would say. Whenever I say that I'm going to do something, I definitely have done it. And I promise you, the system that you're talking about needs to be changed. Every last one of them.
But you know what?
Yes.
And this is just my opinion.
Okay.
We won't change it until we get some bold people in there that's willing to stand up and just say the hell with it. That's how I feel. Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
As a governor of the state of Texas,
sure,
what would be your stand on the killing of unarmed Black men being killed by the police and qualified immunity in the whole?
Qualified immunity, I have a problem with that in the first place. And again, these are where those laws have been passed in the back doors that you have not seen. It came from the Trayvon Martin, the Stand Your Ground law, which came from ALEC. I am not going to stand for bills that come from the back doors and somebody creating bills that give people immunity. They did the same thing with the COVID. They gave them immunity, which I don't believe that they should have given them immunity, because you give them immunity before we knew what was happening, which means that people are now in danger. And if they get harmed or if they die, there's nothing. So no, I don't agree with full immunity. I agree that they need to stand trial. And some of the things that we've seen where people are doing, you know, police are killing people just right off. And I just saw something just day before yesterday. You cannot stand for that. You cannot stand for that. You cannot just sit and just say that that's okay. And the police departments, they need to be cleaned out if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's all I think of. I mean, because it's dangerous to be doing what they're doing and allowing people to continue to get away with it. But again, when you talk about the Black people, we have, many of us have just sat around and looked. Many of our Black politicians are sitting and watching and have not said one word. They're not fighting. They're just looking. And then they'll say, well, you know, I put a bill out there, but they're not pushing these bills. It's a totally different situation to write one than to push it and to get it passed. But that's where I am. Definitely, there is definitely not a chance that I'm going to let that go. No.
Let me say this here, Marie Yao, if I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
There is a white resistance every day to every group. However, Equality Act just passed the House, and we must demand the changes are required. Let me say this, and this is really not a question for Governor D. The Equality Act, the George Floyd Act, all of these acts that these people are putting out there are just straight bullshit. That's all it boils down to. We live in a black and white society. We live in a rich and poor society. When it's time for something to happen, where are the Asians when the black man is killed by the police? Where is the brown community in the uproar when the black people are gunned down like Breonna Taylor? So when it comes to politicians, you know, a lot of people think that I'm angry, Governor D, but I'm passionate.
I know.
What I mean by that is if people ain't where I'm at with the way that I feel, I'm not the problem. So as a politician, you can expect me rolling up my sleeves. No, I ain't got time to roll up my sleeve. I'm coming through the door with a muscle shirt on. I ain't got time for that. And as a politician, the only way we're going to get things done is if we get the right black politicians in the right places and they willing to buck these good old boys in them state houses.
Absolutely.
And that's what it boils down to. So when somebody say, well, D got to make sure she's inclusive when she's talking about certain policies that she wants to do and include everybody. You know what I was saying? Excuse my French. Fuck y'all. Because y'all get on TV and say this just for white folk. You just had this man pass an act up in Washington that because Asians were getting attacked. Black people been getting attacked before we got on the boats 400 years ago. So my thing is, I need an unapologetically black person in every position if they're going to run, and they need to stand up on 10 toes and buck them cowboy hat wearing good old boys.
And I'm ready. I have some cowboy boots and I'm ready to buck. I'm not afraid to buck because I've bucked the system. But what I'm saying to you, I'm going in there and I'm going to change some things. That's just who I am. I'm going to change some things if they allow me to get into position. And then you see what I said. One of my core principles is accountability. We don't have that here. We don't have that anymore. We don't have accountability for nothing.
I mean,
everything goes.
You know, even though I'm running, Dimitri and Donald, I don't have a problem dragging Royce West for pulling that bill. You see what I'm saying? If folk get upset, well, he's speaking of the George Floyd bill and he's dragging Senator West. The hell with Senator West. You should have never pulled the bill. And that's how I feel. I don't care if it's Abbott. I don't care if it's Turner. I'm critical of Sylvester Turner because he does not work for the black community in Houston. He only works for the white folk and the gay and lesbian community. And the black people get the crumbs. Dimitri, I'm sorry. I'm just passing.
I'm sorry. I'm good. I know you're passionate. They say the same thing about me. I'm very passionate about abuse. I'm very passionate just about people being abused and not getting what they're doing.
I got a question in my inbox real quick. As the governor of the state of Texas, what laws would you talk to legislators about and this is in general because this happens everywhere. Now this to protect women from the physical abuse that they incur in the state of Texas?
Well, again, there is some bills that have been passed that relates to women's rights that have slipped through the system. And again, we've had politicians who allowed that stuff to go through. One of the problems is nobody reads those bills, in my opinion. Because if you read those bills, some of those bills that pass through the system like that, you would see some of the language that they have in there. Women need to be protected. Women need to be protected. But you got bills. They have what they call a pedophile bill that you probably don't even know. A pedophile bill that allows pedophiles to do whatever they want to do with no accountability. They said that they don't have to, you don't have to put a sign up anymore. You don't have to tell anybody anything. It's a bill.
Where's that bill?
I can send it to you. So you have quite a few bills that have slipped into the system without you not knowing. Do you not know that there's a bill now that on a long time ago, you had to opt in for organ donation. The bill has passed that says now you have to opt out. Nobody knew about that bill. And the reason why you don't know, there are 58 members in our legislators right now in Texas legislators who are members of ALEC. 58 members. You're shaking your head because you know what I'm saying. It's 58 of them, which simply means that's trouble. You have some that are part of ERCOT are members of ALEC. Matter of fact, your governor has been coined the darling of ALEC. Your problem is you're getting too many bills that are flowing through, and they are flowing through, in my opinion, unconstitutionally. However, nobody's saying anything.
Let me say this here.
So we got to figure out how to get those bills from being passed like that. And if they do pass, somebody needs to be reading them and stopping them.
Let me say this here, and then I'm gonna pass this.
Okay.
John, I am John Craven. I'm gonna say that. Y'all need to stop lying. You are one person that have to work with. Shut the fuck up, man. And then let me tell you why. You ain't old enough to put your own pamp on yet, boy. You cool with making sure everybody get what they want. Use us to get what they want. But you don't have a plan to use them to get what we need. It's a difference between need and want. Let's get that straight first. And that bothers me that these wannabe educated Negroes are not as smart as they portray. What we need is people that understand this. Right now, Joe Biden should be bowing down to the black community. Asians didn't put him in office. White folk didn't put him in office. LGBTQ didn't put him in office. You begged for the black vote. Our vote has value. And we need to start putting people in office that are going to work for us, because when they get in there, they specifically work for their people. Demetra, I'm just passing.
Did you pass the ball to me? Is that what you did?
I think you did.
Yeah, and Mrs. Gilbert, I want to thank you too for being here with us and having this conversation. You're doing a great job, by the way. So I'm just trying to look through some of these questions here.
Well, wait. I just want to
Sure.
say though, by coming to the war zone here, if you can get through this interview, nothing else is going to phase you. Nothing else is going to phase you. Like I said, we're fair. We're trying to be balanced. But if you can get through this, you should not have a problem in any forums that you will be coming up against.
And I appreciate that, because I want to be real. I want to be able to get into these forums. And this is one of the platforms that I actually want to continue. It's getting into forums and talking to people about the real issues and what needs to be done. Because I can always tell you about what I'm going to do. And many times people will tell you, we're going to do this, this, and this, and it never happens. So what we need to start doing is finding out what needs to be done in the community and creating committees and all whatever we need to do to make this work, to get the changes that we need. Because right now we're not getting the changes that we need from what we have in office right now. And we haven't, in my opinion, in the last, how many years? 20, 30 years.
60.
Okay. So I'm a fighter.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this real quick. I'm going to cut D off. I know I'm passing the mic. I'm taking the mic from you. But,
all right, Kanye West.
Yeah, she's the best.
It's okay.
But let me ask you this. I noticed I'm a political agitator here in California. So the Democratic Party hates me, the Republican Party hates me, the NAACP hates me. I mean, I'm just out there like that because I expose politicians, whatever. And I noticed you said something about committees. Okay. Don't you think it's about time we stop with this committee nonsense? Because guess what? Reparations is in committee. They're going to get check. Everything's a committee and they push it down the road. We need to get rid of that. We need action now. Do you realize in less than 12 years, Andrew Yang said this, Black people are going to be out of money. We're done.
Right.
So, to keep putting us in committee, we're going to think about giving you reparations.
No. And that's not exactly what I meant. What I meant by committees is a different type of committee. I'm talking about community leaders that can tell me what they need. Okay. And also keep me accountable for what I say. Right now, they don't have those type of committees. They have, like you said, they got a committee in ALEC, a health committee, and just like they have one in our state house, right? They have the same type of committees, but they're doing the same thing for them or whatever it is that they are looking for. The big businesses who have asked for certain things. This is the same thing I want to be able to do, but I want to be able to talk to the community leaders like you and you who knows what is going on and what needs to be done. I have been in certain communities, but I haven't been on all of them. But we need to know what is going on what's going on out there in those communities. I don't know, but you do. So if you came to me and you told me that, and I knew somebody I know a lot of people who work out there, let me find somebody that can help us. That's what I do. When you call me, I don't look to say, I'm going to call such and such and such. I get a call, I go to the very top of the food chain, say, look, what can we get done? When our water was looking funny, I didn't call the water company. I called the big man. And I said, what are we going to do about this water? And I got some answers. They told me what was going on with the water. So these are the types of things you need to be able, like you said, to be bold, not be afraid to speak up, and not to be able to say, hey, this is wrong. And that's me. This is wrong. It's a lot of stuff that's wrong right now that needs to be changed. And I mean, like, the guy did say, I can't do this by myself because you got the House and you got what? You got the Senate, right? However, we're going to have to work together or I'm going to be stumping the pavement.
Well, again, you're on, and I'm not trying to be difficult with you. Everything.
Yes.
Why do we have to work with everybody? Donald Trump ran his agenda right down the damn pipe. You're going to be the executive of the state. If you use that blueprint and you do what it is that you want to do, you get your Democrat or Republican, or if you're just a non-party down the line, you're going to get what you want. Why do we have to keep using this playbook that doesn't work for us?
What? Who are you talking about? Which playbook?
Why is it an everybody thing? It's not going to work because if we had to wait on everybody, a good example, the Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency.
Right.
Biden has signed more bills in 30-something days than Donald Trump did in 4 years of being in the president. And of course, a lot of Biden's bills were reversing a lot of what Trump did. In all of those bills, not one specific is for Black people. Not one. And yet he says, well, there's nothing I can do. I can't forgive student debt, which is an everybody thing, which we know he can do that because he has the power to do that. He doesn't need Congress to do it. You know, I think people are at this point tired of Black politicians, especially in African American, however you want to say it. I'm saying Black because I'm using it as a adjective. Right. Black politicians playing this game with them and getting nothing done for specifically our people. And, you know, it doesn't work. Maxine Waters has been in Congress here in California for over 30 years. And she says that Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B are an inspiration to Black women with the WAP song. The lady needs to go. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just think if the Democratic Party does not deliver something for the Black people in this country, the Democratic Party's done as far as the Black vote is concerned. So what I'm saying for you, why not be a candidate that's unapologetic and saying, this is what I'm going to run on? Because I can almost guarantee you, we want to see something different like we saw with Barack Obama, which he didn't do shit for us, but a lot of us voted for him the first time. Okay, we got fooled, he didn't do anything. I don't know the numbers in Texas, but I guarantee you will galvanize a lot of Black voters being unapologetic and not doing what the machine does, because it's been exposed. Donald Trump has exposed the whole political system and has torn it down.
And I'm not apologetic. I think I can run and do what I need to do. I think I can. Again, I've been doing it. I've been stumping the pavement. Like I said, I've been talking back or whatever you want to call it. And I've been doing what I needed to get done without anybody telling me that's not okay. I'm just running. I'm just going to tell you, I'm running. I don't know who else who else who even wants to run, but I'm going to run and I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to make people accountable. And we are going to see some change. But again, who else do you have that's going to be running that looks like me?
Very true.
Probably not a one.
Final thoughts, Ms. Demetra?
Yes.
Well, my final thoughts are thank you so much, Mrs. Gilbert, for coming on here.
Thank you.
I hope that you are successful in your run. Have you gotten familiar with Michael Cooper? He's also running. He's a Black gentleman that's running as well.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So please do come back and tell us about your progress as you're running to unseat that of Greg Abbott. He definitely needs to go. And so, you know, hopefully it's somebody that looks like us and that is for us while they're helping everybody else. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Final thoughts, Donovan?
Wow, I wish we could go a little bit more time, but you know what? We're going to bring you back. We're not
finished. Bring me back.
Not finished. Because like I said, even though, you know, we gave you some tough questions and stuff, I really think that makes you a better candidate going down the pipe. You won't be surprised at certain things. You're getting a pulse of how a lot of the regular Black folks feel. Like you said, that committee you were talking about, if you read some of these comments, you're going to see, and I strongly recommend you do that, go into the comments and see what people are actually saying here. And that's actually going to help you in your future forums and stuff, because it gives you a pulse. A lot of people are looking at what is going on in politics, especially Black folks, and we're done. We are not our parents. We're not our ancestors. I mean, people are done. We're not being patient anymore. You know, we're done at this point. And I see it here in California as Black people are leaving California and moving to Texas. They're just done. Maxine Waters has no power. She doesn't even live in the district that she's supposed to live in. She lives in Calabasas next to Dr. Dre. How do you do that? I mean, it's just crazy out here, and people are just tired of it. We want at least I want politicians, and people that I know of want politicians that are doing what the other groups are doing. They're not looking out for Black. They're looking out for their own. And we need people that look out for our own. And if you go to the Congressional Black Caucus's website, they advocate for everybody. Stop calling yourself Black then. Stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. Like I said, we could go on and on, but I think you're going to be a very strong candidate. I think you're very principled. I minored in physics. If you ever want to talk some science.
We need to talk a little bit more.
And like I said, please come back. Please come back. I think you know, you can galvanize a lot of people. I really do.
Thank you.
I'm gonna close it out and say thank you for taking the time to come and hang out with us. Because I tell you what, it's a tough seat to sit in some nights for some of these people.
I know.
Take a little guts to hang out with us three. we don't script this thing. But I'll remind everybody tomorrow. I have a virtual fundraiser. I'm running for school board. District 9 starts at 3 o'clock. It'll be on Facebook as well as YouTube. Say, man, you got to step up to the plate. But bottom line is, I'm not trying to go in and change the system because I'm one person, like some people said there. I tell you what, I'm gonna go in and change the system. I have no choice. Because if I don't, then black education will be decimated. Now, I welcome all of y'all tomorrow. Shoot your questions and watch your boy walk through them. I'll go through your questions with no socks or shoes on in a snowstorm. Because if I don't know nothing else, I know education like the back of my hand. I can promise you that. And Houston Independent School District, you can get ready for one thing. Demetri, I need you to call them and tell somebody that an unapologetically black man will take his seat next January. I'm coming in with the old Yates jersey on, my hat turned backwards, and I'm ready to get out for these kids. And black kids come first. Say, it's a reason we the best in the business, man. It's the war zone. I want to thank my good friend, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Diedre K, and our new friend, Diedre Gilbert, running for governor of the state of Texas. And you know who I am, Mr. Unapologetically Black. I'm too raw for MTV, and I'm too black for BET. Tomorrow, virtual fundraiser. I don't care how much we raise. We need whatever we can get. And I'm from the post side of town, so I'm going to make wine out of water. So if we got $30 after tomorrow, watch your boy really do. Until Monday, we'll holler at you.
Wow.